Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Quantum Guide Show. So, as you may have noticed by my previous thumbnails, I was supposed to have Carmen Turner Schott on the show today. She's an astrologer, a social worker, and she's helped many, many people, find peace and comfort and better health through astrology. And she woke up sick this morning and had to cancel. So you're stuck with little old me. So what I thought I would do is just have an Ask Me Anything session. So you can ask me anything about my paranormal adventures, my shows, whatever, and we'll just take the conversation wherever it goes. And excuse me, I'd like to thank everybody for liking my shows. I really appreciate it when you go and hit that thumbs up button. And of course, all of you who comment either during the live chat or afterwards. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe as I'm trying to grow my channel. And of course, please share this podcast with your friends. And I also have very good news. I'm now able to take channel memberships. You can join my membership and receive my perks. So that's something that's new. And something else that's new, excuse me, is sorry, what's happening with my throat? Something else that's new is I finally finished my book, and my book goes into uh, basically my lifetime history of paranormal events, what I believe has led me to be more in tune with paranormal experiences, some of the good things and not so good things that happened to me in my life, and how all of those things led up to the point where I actually had an angelic encounter, which saved my life. And that was incredible, changed my life very, very much. And I'll be talking about that on Friday evening on Joan Wyden's program. I think it's called Journeying with Joan Wyden, if any of you are interested. And um, I've talked about it quite a few times on my various shows. And if you haven't done so already, I have another podcast that airs every Sunday called Aliens and Angels. And I interview and talk to experiencers, share my thoughts, my learnings, my experiences, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's very sort of geared towards the angelic and the ET realms, which I believe are not that separate. We have what we consider the physical universe, but we also have the spiritual realms. And I believe the two are very much interconnected. And it's often referred to as the omniverse. So if you think you might be interested in that, come over on Sunday. It's at 11 a.m. Pacific, noon Mountain, and 2 p.m. On Eastern time. So it's actually an hour earlier than when I run my Quantum Guide show. So I'm just waiting for some people to show up in the live chat. Until they do, I'll just talk a bit about my book. So the bulk of my book is about my extraterrestrial, which is also transdimensional experiences. And it's all finished. I'm just putting the final tweaks on it before it goes to to be published. And I'll be publishing it on Amazon. So I will update you as soon as it's up and ready and available. I think you'll find it very interesting. It's completely nonfiction. Everything in the book is my real life experiences. And what I hope to achieve by sharing this information is to give other people courage to come out with their experiences, share what they've seen and perceived. And it's not always easy to share this information because, first of all, people just think we're nuts. Unless they've also had similar experiences or unless they're very open-minded, in which case they they're a little kinder to us. But it's difficult because sometimes we walk around wondering if what we have experienced is real, whether we have become psychotic, have mental illness, whether we're having imaginings. Like we really don't know because we don't have a legitimate foundation in the social reality with which to ponder these things. Yeah, so it can be very, very challenging. So I had a bunch of images ready to share with you that actually AI generated for me because I'm not much of an artist and I'm not a rich woman, so I couldn't pay an artist to make the images, but AI was very compliant, very good. And I came pretty close to my real life experiences with my AI generated images. The problem is I'm having a problem accessing them through StreamYard. So when I go to my screen share, um, all the images are there, but the screen is, or the image that shows all of the images that I want to share, which shows the file, which is open, it's too big for my screen. And so I can't get to the share button to tell it to actually bring it forward out of the file and onto the screen for you to see. And I don't know, I'm going to have to get some help with that, that's for sure, because it's very frustrating not being able to screen share because there's so much I want to share and show you guys. So I don't know, if nobody shows up, it's going to be a very short show today. But I wanted to be here in case people did come. I didn't want to just cancel the show because my guest couldn't make it. I don't feel good about doing that because I like to be regular and dependable. And I want to be here for you folks so that you know that on Wednesdays at noon Pacific, 1 o'clock Mountain Time, or 3 o'clock Eastern, that you can come on and participate in the live chat. And I include you as much as possible into the show as well, displaying relevant chat posts. And if I'm not too busy trying to pay attention to my guest, I'll actually read out some of the comments. So yeah, I don't know if anybody is going to come today. I also wanted to tell you that we have a mail strike here in Canada. I live in Canada. We have a mail strike right now. And I generally promote my orgone generators during this time because people want to know about them so that they can purchase them and use them as gifts for whatever seasonal holiday they celebrate in the wintertime. But I only have my website set up to process things through the Canada mail system and the American mail system, which I can't get it to the States because I don't really live too close to the border. And so I can't ship at this time. So I just want to tell everybody, if you were thinking of buying some of my products, I am unable to ship until the mail strike is over. But I have some amazing services available, and I'm going to just play for you while we're waiting for people to come into the chat, my a little bit about my services that I have available. So I'll just go ahead and do that now. Everybody thrives when we have a mission, and there is no greater mission than to become the change we wish to see in the world. This holiday season, share a gift certificate for my services because sometimes the people we love need a little help from consultation and support. They may have discovered that this world is not what they thought it was, and recent global events have awakened them, and now they're feeling unsettled. Or some of your loved ones may have experienced the paranormal and feel isolated with their not so popular beliefs. It is a big shock to wake up and find that the old familiar world is gone. It can be disturbing to go down the various rabbit holes only to find that the information is difficult to digest and few people are willing to talk openly about it. Everybody would like to learn how to thrive in this new state of awareness as they discover that they are not conspiracy theorists. Everyone is now awakening, and once they find their way through it, there are many blessings waiting on the other side. My name is Karen Holton, and I offer vital services that may be just what many people need, and support for unique journeys into the weird and wonderful. Check out my Awakening Support and Ascension Consultation services, created to support individuals with their chosen alternative realities and lifestyles, health and recovery, and their spiritual adventures. For more details, check out the various vital services found on my website, and be assured that I have found personal success with every category featured. My website is www.KarenHoltonHealthCoach.com. That's KarenHolton healthcoach.com. Gift certificates are now available. And that, as they say, is that. Oh, look, we have Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. Welcome to the show. So, hi, how you doing? So good to see you. I guess I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, but my guest last minute couldn't be here. So what I decided to do is open up the show to ask me anything. So please feel free to ask me anything. Unless it's too personal, I'd be happy to answer. And I'm wondering if you have any questions about the work that I do, my podcasts, my extraterrestrial contact, which is also interdimensional contact, my experience, my angelic experience, or any of the paranormal things that I've had happen to me in my life. So yeah, please feel free to ask any questions you might have, and love to answer them. And or if you have any comments, I'd be happy to display those as well, and we could talk about anything you want. So I was kind of hoping someone would show up, so I do appreciate you, but I'm not sure how long I should run the show if more people don't come. But I don't want you to feel like I'm giving you the bums rush. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. You're welcome to be here. So as I was saying earlier, I finished my book. It's about to be published. I'm pretty excited about that. It's called Transdimensional: Meet the New Neighbors. And it's all my paranormal experiences I've ever had in my life. So I'll just mention a few while we're waiting for more people to come, or until Tennessee has a question. Oh, he does have something to say. Let's see. He says, okay, wanted to tell you Jamie Angel Wings came and stayed here and clears some burial mounds. She left an organite triangle. I looked under it and it was yours. So excited to get one. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad you got one. And I'm so glad she came and she cleared some burial mounds. That's like really important work. People are doing all kinds of amazing, what I call grid work, whether it's spreading organite out all over the world, to going and performing rituals to bless certain areas and move stagnant or negative energy, or anything like that. And I don't know if you know this, but my orgone generators, my guides taught me how to link them energetically. So every orgone generator I've ever had, or what I have now or will have in the future, they're all linked. I use this process to link them. So I not only when my friend makes them for me, and then I wash them, and then I smudge them with sacred smoke. Then I put them in the sunshine to charge them up really good. And the only one that doesn't need sunshine is the goddess pyramid. It actually needs moonlight for recharging. It's the only one. The rest, all sunlight does it, or they self-charge because they have quartz inside of them. And then I play high frequency music to them, and then I do my what I call entanglement ritual with them. I use a wand. I bring energy in from the heavenly realms and up from the earth into my body. I mix them in my heart chakra, I then send the energy down my arms through my fingers to my wand, and then that amplifies it. And then I do my ritual. I put everything in a grid, and then I use my wand to connect everything. And I also am in a bit of a trance state while I'm doing it. I use visualization, and anyway, it's pretty effective. So, long story short, when these orgone generators go out into the world, whether it's Australia, the United States, South America, Europe, it doesn't matter, wherever they end up, they're forming an invisible grid because they're connected to each other. And that invisible grid helps to blanket the planet and puts positive healing energy everywhere in between. So I'm pretty excited about that. And one time I met a woman who was on my show quite this couple of years ago, and she did the same thing. She made her own orgone generators and she blessed them and linked them, and she was doing grid work by sending them out all over the world. So she and I exchanged some of our orgone generators. So she sent me some of hers, and I sent her some of mine. And then we included them when we linked them together with our own. So now there's two grids all over the world. And I thought that was pretty cool and pretty exciting. So I'm really happy, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, that you got one. Really happy. Um, and that makes me really happy that you have one. And I think that's awesome. So yeah, so that's what the orgone generators are doing. So as I was telling the listeners and the viewers before this, actually right now the mail is on strike in Canada, so I can't ship. That's the only method I have that my website uses for. Um, Sorry, I'm reading the comments at the same time. I'm not good at multitasking. Long story short, I can't ship any of the orders out at this time because Canada Post is on strike, and until they settle, I can't do that. So I'm sorry. I just wanted everybody to know that. So Lisa Lynn, my phone is not a smartphone. Ha ha ha. Oh, Lisa, my phone's constantly changing everything I say. It's turning me into a weirdo, and I have to go back and I retype the messages, and then it comes up wrong again, and it's very frustrating. But I'm really glad that you caught the live, and it was really kind of you to come um, straight from work to the show. And I love you so much too. I love everybody so much. It's one big, very happy family. And Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says that is great to hear. So you have one in Knoxville now. Awesome. Really happy about that. Lisa, in case you didn't catch the previous part of this discussion, I link all my orgone generators to each other energetically. And there's another woman who does the same thing. And we met and we exchanged orgone generators and crystals, and we included each other's in our own grid. So now when they go out into the world, they form a double planetary grid. So I thought that was really, really cool. Um, I think you're laughing at what I was saying about my damn phone. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with it. You know, I had all these beautiful images. I'm not an artist, and I've just finished my book, and it's about to be published. And so I had AI work on the images for me, and oh, the AI did a beautiful job. They're not exact replicas, but they're pretty close. And then I couldn't get my StreamYard to cooperate with me to share them. Like I did everything right. I went to present, I went to screen share, I opened, I was in the open file with all my images, but the picture on the screen was too big and I couldn't scroll down to the share button, so I can't share them. So I was kind of frustrated about that. So that's why I don't have any images for you today. But I'm going to learn how to do that and do another show and show you guys. So, Lisa Lynn, I heard how you take care of them and wash them before you send them out. Yes, on Rob's show, exactly. I went into the whole thing. So, I'm glad you appreciate it. We live in a world where we don't often get validated for the metaphysical or paranormal experiences that we have. And it happens so often. that we can't all be dreaming it or imagining it. And it makes life actually way more interesting. And so it's lovely to hear from you folks and to hear that you are not laughing at me, that see the value in the things that I do, because I do them with actual great purpose. And I'm very close to my spiritual guides, and I get instruction from them all the time on what to do and sometimes what not to do. And I don't know what I do without them. And I actually encourage everybody to go within to find their experts, their higher selves, their soul team, because we've so far been, depending on external experts, and what a mess they've made of our planet and our social system. I mean, our food is not really very good anymore. Our atmosphere's polluted, our water's full of fluoride and other chemicals. Our politicians don't seem to care about anything but their pockets, lining their pockets. I don't mean to be too negative. I'm just saying that why not go inside and find our internal guides, because they've never disappointed me, and I'm sure they would never disappoint you either. Lisa says, "We would never laugh at you. You're one interesting lady, and you are so tough. I admire you." Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. That's really kind of you to say. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really, really nice to be validated. So, as I had mentioned earlier, my guest, who was Carmen Turner Schott, she woke up sick this morning and she couldn't make it to the show. So I decided to open it up as an Ask Me Anything show. And I'm wondering if any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask me, or saw a topic of discussion you'd like us to kick around on the show. Please feel free to post in the live chat, and I'd be happy to include you in the conversation. So I was talking about my book, which is now completed, and I can't wait to publish it. I'm hoping soon. I'm waiting for my, what's it called? The code, the number that you get so that people can find me in libraries. So I'm waiting to get that back from the Canadian government to include that within the book itself. Preston Dennett is currently, and Dolly Safran are both currently reading my manuscript, and I'm hoping to be able to get a take on what they think about it. They're going to be on my other show, Aliens and Angels, on Sunday. I hope you can come back for that. It airs an hour earlier than this show, and it's on Sunday. It's live, and you'd be, of course, included in the conversation as much as possible, depending on how much they have to say. And yeah, so Dolly, she's had lifelong experiences, and she's fully conscious. She remembers everything. Me, I only remember certain things, and it doesn't even really make sense why I remember some things and not others. It's a puzzle, and I'm not really sure. But I get into some really cool detail. I got to visit some other worlds, and one of them was a water world, and one of them was more of a tropical world. And the people or beings that live on the tropical world, they decided not to take technology with them. So you have your choice when you resettle in another world. You have your choice on how much technology you want to have to support you. And on worlds where the climate's fairly mild and there's not too much in the way of danger, people often wish to settle without a lot of technology. They like doing stuff for themselves, and I don't blame them. Now, when beings choose to go to a certain world and not take technology, or to take a specific level of technology with them, everybody who resettles agrees to the same level of technology. So you never see a very low technology settlement with a very high technology settlement, because over time that doesn't always work out as well as if everyone starts off with a sort of a level playing field. And, that was a really, really great experience. Everybody there lived in tree houses, and they weren't primitive at all. They were very, uh, almost modern, although all made out of natural, fibers and building supplies. But, the homes were gorgeous, and the reason they lived in tree houses is because that particular planet produces copious amounts of dew. And so everything would be damp and moldy if they weren't above the dew line. So that's why how they do it there. That was a really positive experience. And so I tell you all about that in my book. And I talk about the beetle hunt. So everybody has a job to do, in resettlement. And in this resettlement was no different. And the children all had the job of going out and hunting the beetles, and these beetles are huge, and they're in dome-shaped shells, and they're a main food source for not just the people that live there, but for all kinds of other flesh-eating creatures. And so we went on a beetle hunt, and it was really cool. And when we finally got to the area where we were going to capture, I'm not going to give you any of the details. I'm hoping you're going to read about it. We got to the area where we were going to capture the beetles, what was really cool is the children were able to use telepathy to put all the beetles to sleep. So as soon as we were very quiet, we didn't move, the beetles started coming out of everywhere all around us from the bushes and flowered areas and everything, and they started coming into the clearing. And then the children emitted some kind of telepathic frequency that knocked them all out. And then the older children took these sharp rocks and went and chopped the heads off of all of them, and then we hauled them back to the settlement and we cooked them for dinner. So that was really interesting, very interesting experience. And another interesting experience was I went to a water world. Now, this was completely different. This was a high-tech settlement, and all the homes or buildings, I guess you could call them. They weren't really buildings, they were more like homes built on individual rafts that then linked up to form communities. And they were able to submerge deep below the ocean when the weather got nasty. And they had their own self-contained atmosphere for when they went down low. And I thought I was going to really enjoy the experience because I love going to the aquarium. I thought it was going to be like that. No, it was not like that. And I actually got kind of like claustrophobia. I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I was very constricted. And and then in the middle of the night, what didn't help is I woke up and there were some sea creatures that I couldn't identify, but they were huge and they were staring in the window looking at me while I slept, and it totally creeped me out. I couldn't wait to get home. So I had one really positive off-world experience and one pretty negative off-world experience. So that was that. And of course, aboard the big ship, it's quite different than what other people report back. It's the ship itself is actually alive, and um, you can communicate with it telepathically. So there was no, like, when you watch Star Trek, there's all these screens and monitors with lights flashing, and people are constantly recalibrating everything. Well, there was nothing like that on the big ship, nothing like that at all. It's all done telepathically between the crew and the ship itself. And so that was quite different. The other thing is we had everything on board is sort of self self-building. So because the ship is telepathic, and of course everyone uses telepathy on the big ship, the ship knows when you need to go from one area to another and just generates a self-assembling doorway, and you go through and then it disappears. There's no seams or anything. It's very interesting. I don't know everything about it. I don't know It's like what we would imagine nanotechnology, self-assembling nanotechnology, what that might be like. Anyway, so I write all about that in my book. So, yes, you can learn about the different kinds of beings I met there, what we did on a typical day, what the culture was like. There's just so much on in the book for me to tell you. So, although I don't remember everything, I remember enough to be able to give you a really good sort of snapshot on what I experienced. And the other thing I really want to stress is it's not like I was born with some kind of special skill to be able to do this. I do come from lineage of extraterrestrial contact, intergenerational. I do think that it changes us perhaps on a genetic level and makes it more apt for us to have transdimensional experiences. But I also believe that everybody can have these experiences once they're better recognized, once they're no longer seen as fringe or rare occurrences. And the other thing is, I was taught that many, 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 even millions of us here on Earth do have these experiences, but most people don't remember because otherwise it's difficult for them to re-embed themselves into our mainstream society. And ultimately, we came to be alive on the planet at this time for soul development. And we don't want to interfere. We don't want to interfere with that. But also, um, we don't want to be thought of as being a bunch of crazy people and locked up either. And I don't say that lightly. This literally has been happening right up, well, even today, but especially up till the mid 1980s, which is not that long ago. People were being institutionalized if they reported extraterrestrial or angelic or different kinds of non-mainstream experiences. Unfortunately, that does seem to be true. So I'm not getting any more questions in the chat, and I don't see anybody else joining us. So I think we'll close out yeah, at halftime today. And I really want to tell everyone who did join us, Lisa Lynn, Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot, and very happy to hear that Angel Wings was able to do some grid work. And let's just see. Oh, I just got a message from Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot. He said, we had some discussions the other day, telepathy, and the Pleiadians are to come and take the ones that can't make the shift off planet. That is interesting. I have not heard that before. And I believe that is exactly possible. I'll tell you why. It's because my experiences with angels, extraterrestrials, transdimensionals, interdimensionals is my experience, and it's filtered through my personal awareness. There are many other people who have different kinds of experiences. For instance, as I mentioned, Dolly Saffron, all of her experiences have been with the Greys. My experience, I've only had interaction with one being who what you could classify as a gray. And in fact, his nickname is Bob the Gray. And I also write about him in my book too. So it's very likely there are other resettlement programs, there are other plans, there are other beings from other worlds that are interacting with humans as well. I think this is a bit of a hot spot, planet Earth, for contact. And I think it's because we're wonderfully made that we're able to do this. And I think it's our birthright. So I think that's really cool. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says, then Archangel Michael and all will come in on dragons. The Father's spirit returns. Then they will put a portal around the earth and make the shift. Curious of what you think of that. Oh, I think that's amazing. I think that's totally amazing, totally possible. There is more than what my pea brain could ever imagine that goes on. And how wonderful to think of the angels coming in on dragons. That's another thing that we discussed on Robert Khalil's show is a lot of people think that dragons are ancient mythical creatures. They don't realize that dragons are a real thing. And there are people on Earth who have contact with dragons, are able to see dragons, even capture images with their cameras. And that's another whole realm that I'm not privy to. So as I always say, I am not the grand poobah of any of this. I just give you my experiences, hope that encourages some of you to share your experiences, and together we'll bring more into light and show people what's possible. I'm just going to quickly read. Lisa Lynn says, thank you, Karen. Love you. See you Sunday, or I'll hear you Sunday. Okay, awesome, Lisa Lynn. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's really very sweet of you. Um, so I also wanted to talk a little bit about fear. A lot of people are so afraid these days. And I was watching a video the other day about how um, a collective psychosis is generated through fear. So, and this happened back in the days of the Inquisition. This also happened back in the days of the witch hunts and the witch trials. People just got all whipped up. It started with them being very much afraid, and fear or paranoia is contagious. And we do have a collective consciousness as well as our personal consciousness. And it's easy to slip into the collective consciousness. So what we're seeing happen today is people are very, very afraid. And of course, the media and the social reality, the construct, I call it, is feeding that and trying to keep us very afraid. Because as long as we're afraid, we're not thinking critically, we're not using our full consciousness, we're not making independent decisions. And pretty soon we tap into this collective psychosis. We've seen a lot of that in the United States over the past year, where all people from all different levels and all different backgrounds were either very afraid and thinking that one possible side of the government, if it got reelected, or I should say, yeah, elected or reelected, would cause all this harm. And everybody was trying to stop it. And then people on the other side, of course, are seeing the current administration as being quite evil. And well, I'm not part of the collective unconsciousness or the collective psychosis, but I do see there is a lot going on in this world that needs to change. Absolutely. And all independent thinkers are aware of that, unless they're completely functioning on a spiritual plane and are not um, really paying attention to the things that are going on planet Earth right now. But we can avoid the collective psychosis by not being afraid. And the best way, I think, to not be afraid is, first of all, limit our connection to the things that scare us. Because anybody who has your best interest at heart is not trying to frighten you. They wouldn't do that because they're capable of being compassionate and empathetic beings. And people who are empathetic and compassionate are also creative, and they see the best and they see what's possible, and they don't waste their time trying to freak people out. So when we ignore the things that terrify us, that helps it to simmer down and helps us to come back into independent thinking. And the other thing is you can check in and find out what's going on from time to time, but we just don't want to feed on a steady diet of negativity. And the other thing is reaching out to each other and finding encouraging podcasts. And there's many, 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 many that we can tap into that help to encourage us and help us to see that we're not freaks. We all have these paranormal capabilities. We all have abilities. We all have different kinds of contact. Sometimes we don't think of it as contact. Sometimes we might think we're dreaming. Well, it doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is it elevating us to a higher state of humanity, or is it bringing us down? And the more elevated state is that we exist in, the less likely we are to become mentally ill, the less likely we are to be trapped by some of these belief systems and dogmas. And I think it's really important that we pay attention to our psychology, to our spirituality, and we rely or go within to rely on the experts within rather than the experts without. I guess I didn't mean to get too preachy here. I was just wanting to mention that as one more thing. So it looks like we've had a few guests on today. I should say a few, well, guests in the live chat today. And I've pretty well said everything I want to say for today. And unless there's another question or comment that comes in the next second or two, I'm going to close out the show. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank those that are listening to the audio podcast. I want to thank those that are watching the replay. And of course, those of you who are here for the live. Very, very cool. Okay, I just got another comment from Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot. He says, I was reading the quote, "Don't throw your pearl to the swine," is not to give away your energy. As you are saying it, it is important to keep good energy and not to keep relations with the fear people and the news. I totally 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Do not cast your pearls before swine. Another similar kind of saying is you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. So yeah, it means use discernment for sure. Use discernment. So again, thank you everybody for joining me today. Lovely to have you, and we'll see you on Sunday, hopefully, for Aliens and Angels. And again, Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron will be on, and I'm very excited to meet with them. I love them very much, and they've helped me so much, and I think you'll enjoy visiting with them too. So until Sunday, we'll say bye-bye and also see you next week on Quantum Guide Show. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for joining me for the Quantum Guide Show. Become the change that you wish to see in the world. Subscribe to my YouTube and other channels at Karen Holton TV. Click the like button, leave me a comment, and share this podcast with your friends. Check out my website at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com to see my free resources and amazing products and services. All the links will be in the description below. As part of the Forbidden Knowledge Network, you will find the Quantum Guide Show with Karen Holton and also the Aliens and Angels podcast on all audio platforms. Until next time, keep up the good work.